Alright guys, back to the Warriors training vlog. 17 weeks out now, about a month since I saw you last. About to hit a safety bar squat and press session. First for the week. I don't usually train in the morning, but hey, here we are. Just a little update on what we've been doing for the last month. The last couple of weeks have actually been really hard mentally for me, with a mixture of like the COVID shutdowns, although they're not really here, more in Sydney, but just the idea coming back into my head about like, you know, there's every chance that competitions will be shut down again. You know, my Pro Raw in 2019 got shut down less than a week before I did it, which was a huge pain, and it really sucked for me and our whole Nexus team. So just the idea coming back into my head that that could happen again has just kind of just messed with me a little bit. As well as like the shoulder stuff, which I talked about in the last one, just a little bit of aches and pains, which are normal, but it's like kind of combining these things, it just add up. And then a couple of the health things which I alluded to last time as well, like I've been having like a little bit higher blood pressure and blood glucose control. But I actually had a call with my coach Matt Domney last week and talked over things. I had a call with new nutritionist Luke Lehman, who's helping me get my blood glucose and blood pressure under control, and also saw my shoulder physio and had some good chats with him on rehab for, you know, moving forward on rehab for that, improving that, and a little bit of this mindset stuff as well. The other thing I had a little bit of mental chat with him about was that in this competition, I'm usually up against people like Sebastian, which bring out the best in me because we're really close and I really love close competitions. But with him doing the Sydney comp, which makes sense, he's in Sydney, and with the COVID stuff, makes sense. I'm not blaming him for it, but with him out and a couple other people out, it's just a little bit harder on the motivation side. But like I said, I had a chat with my physio about that, about the mindset, and I feel like I can wipe the last 2 weeks off the plate to hit this week fresh. Get back on track to where we know we're at, and make it all good from here. So you'll be seeing videos from all those people on the YouTube channel, so keep an eye out for them. But until then, let's hit it. With safety bar squats, some accessory pressing, just a cable press, and then just leg hypertrophy. So some belt squats, leg extensions, a little bit of abs at the end, but it's mainly about this and the pressing, and the rest is just pumpy pump bodybuilder fun. Yeah, just hitting some warm-up sets. I feel like a mistake everybody makes is just like rushing through the warm-up sets. Oh, it's 20 kilos, it's super light. You know, when you get the competition and that shit's really, really heavy, you don't get a chance to think. So the best way to make your technique good in a competition is just to drill it in so it becomes driving like a car, so it becomes autonomous to some degree. So when we're doing our warm-ups, even though it's super light, I like to tempo them down, add in some pauses, just let myself feel out the position, make sure I'm in the right muscles, and make them perfect so that I can build that autonomy. A lot of the education is quite, it's not specific. Nobody cares about powerlifting except powerlifters, so like getting the information and learning it is difficult. And social media is kind of like where people learn from, which is a good or a bad thing depending on who you follow. But I feel like private courses are the way to go. As in, like, there's plenty of experts, strong people that know what they're doing, that have good results with people. They're the people to learn from. Uni is, I'm not saying uni's bad, but I don't want to shit on uni, but uni doesn't care about powerlifting, the money's not there. Usually I take it pretty easy, like not too super heavy to warm up, and then when it gets to the heavy sets.
Like no heavy metal?
Oh, it depends on the day. Like today's one's not super heavy, so I don't feel like I need super heavy music. Everybody has like their vibe. Like I don't feel there's a particular, like a lot of people before a comp will like put headphones in and listen to like a particular song. But I don't really get bogged down on that, just because comps are random, and like they might just put on like a random song that you don't like, and if that's the thing that stops you getting your lift, like
then it's
like if you train for like 3 months and then they put on the wrong song and that's what makes
and that throw you off.
So I just I put on music I like, but like I don't get so caught up in one song.
Cool.
COVID has like forced people out of the sport for, you know, anywhere from, for us not that long, but like other states like might be 3-4 months, and then they realize that like how much time and energy is put into it, and maybe during that time they've got like extra hours in their day with their kids or find another hobby, and then when they come back to it they're like, oh.
Because there's a lot to kind of get back into gear, right?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. It's I feel like a lot of people, I'm not saying for the worst, but a lot of people have maybe lost powerlifting during COVID, and I just wonder how many are going to come back. Done the warm-ups up to what I feel will be our top set. Today's not about going to failure or anything like that. It's a safety bar squat. So I'm trying to take this to a weight for a set of 6. That's around 3 reps from failure. Anywhere kind of in that vicinity would be nice. And then provided that this is that weight and it does move that way, then I'll drop around 10% of the weight off this and hit this for another 3 sets of 6 before we move on to the pressing. All powerlifters have big fat feet. Like, this is how we are. Good for weightlifters, but they need some fatness. Well, it's part of it. I won't go into it, but like when you squat and stuff, you need to flatten your feet, and you get really, really good at those particular patterns, and lose some other movement patterns that you should have, and it kind of makes your feet wider or flatter. It's part of the sport, but I have naturally just kind of wide, big feet in general. So yeah, that combined with Adidas's vibe to make friggin' narrow shoes is a pain in my ass. So like I said, pulling about 10% off now to hit my next 3 sets. To a lot of people new to powerlifting, they find that a little bit counterintuitive that I just hit a top 6 at 3 reps to failure, which a lot of people think that's not that hard, but if you're going truly 3 reps from failure, it is hard, as you saw. And then most people would just leave the same weight on and do another 3 sets, which I'm sure I could, but that last set, probably going to be sacrificing a little bit of quality in the rep, because it'll be hard by that point. I'll be a little bit more fatigued, and it's probably going to end up closer to failure than I'd like, knowing that I've got another squat session in a couple of days. So if I pull back the weight 10%, that last set, the following sets, and even the last set is probably still going to be around that 3-4 reps from failure mark, and the quality is able to remain high. Alright, well, I'll catch my breath. There's been a couple of changes since the last video that we did. We got in a new deadlift platform here, as you can see. Came out really nice. Much better than the just piled up mats that we had before. We have the Nexus in the corner. Still got to get some red to go underneath that to make the logos pop, but still looks great. We have a dumbbell rack. So, well, again, a lot better than the dumbbells just sitting on the floor, so a lot easier and looks a lot better. And then just my trophies that I brought back from Zero Weakness to fill out the room, and some new speakers to make it a bit more fun. A lot better training environment. Alright, so we got the crossfit pec, lower pec, chest press here. I'm just doing it on this setup. It seems a little bit awkward, and it is on the cables, but I find for my third pressing session for the week, for the lighter one, I know this one pisses off my shoulders less, while still really hitting my pecs. I can really like feel my pecs in it, and yeah, so it's just a better choice for me than trying to sling up some really heavy dumbbells whilst my shoulder's a little bit angry. Find post session I get a little bit of like a little bit of pain from that. So yeah, although it is a massive pain in the ass to set up, it's still a press, and it still does the job for now. As we progress in the comp, you'll see this change into more specific variations, so a different variation of bench press or something like that. And we'll probably end up benching 3 times a week in some form of variation, but stay tuned and you'll see that. So we have a belt squat now. So we'll go through our skill pattern on the squat. Like I said, kept that a few reps from failure for quality. On this, you can push a lot closer to quality and maintain form through to, because of the external stability of the machine, I'm holding on and all that jazz. Can push it a lot closer to failure, get more stimulus from the quads. Since the weight is around my waist, get a lot less systemic fatigue through the system as well, so a lot less of a trade-off. So much better hypertrophy exercise all around. I'll push 3 sets from this, try and push my quads to the limit, and then I'll jump on the leg extension after and finish it off. There's big bands on here, so if we didn't have them on, you have to load up this thing to 350 kilos, like it's just ridiculous pain in the ass to load. So these big bands help make it a little bit harder. I leave them on there permanently, so we don't have to load it quite as heavy to get the same effect. It also just manipulates the strength curve a little bit and makes it harder throughout the whole movement, whereas usually without the bands, it's really hard at the bottom of it, and then as you come up, it just gets easier and easier and the load comes off. And so yeah, the bands help make it hard throughout the whole movement. Alright, so final exercise, leg extensions. We had the belt squat, which overloaded the quads in the lengthened position and pushing the failure there. We're going to get on this, which is hardest at the top of the movement where the quads are short, so we're going to overload it, finish all the muscle fibers in the quad. Right to failure, so I can't walk out of the gym. I have to lay on the floor for 5 minutes after, but it's how we grow. Just making sure we use it, not too much momentum on the way up, and get sure the quads are working the whole way through the movement, and at the top, and nice controlled eccentric. I've gone so far that my hips have to move. It's a full hypertrophy, so you have to make the muscle work. Alright guys, that rounds up today's session. First one of the week, but still 4 more to go this week. Like I said at the start, I feel like I'm a little bit more mentally on track after last week, and I'm really looking forward to this block. So in a few weeks time, I'll be back on here and we'll update you with how everything's going. We'll film a different session and explain that. If you have any questions, comments, anything, hit me up. We'll respond to your comment, we'll respond to everything. Like and subscribe to catch the next one as soon as it comes out, and I'll see you then.